Hi, everybody. This is Jawahar again, and I have brought to you um, a story. And the story is about just some of the life skills. So, the story that I have for you today is to teach the children about life skills. Some of our kids, they are scared of sleeping alone at night. And what I've seen is that there is a lot of anxiety and there is a lot of stress that is related to sleeping alone at night. And they sometimes are, they don't want to sleep alone. They would come back to your room. They keep on telling you that something's bothering them. And so this was just a story that I took from the life skills special education section of Ed Helper. And it was just a story that we can go over with the kids. It's just like a social story. And we can talk to them about, just not to be scared, not to be afraid of sleeping in their bed at night. And it's just kind of reiterating the fact that you're okay, there's nothing wrong. So, the name of the story is I Will Not Be Afraid. And so, how the story goes is it goes like this. I will not be afraid. I'm sorry. Okay, it's like a little. Alright, I'll just read it like this. I will not be afraid, said Jack, of scary things at night. I will ask my mommy to turn on a little light. I will not be afraid, said Dawn, of climbing in the tub. My mommy will stay with me and watch me while I scrub. So it's not also the children that are scared of, like, sleeping in their bed at night. It's also the children that are scared of going into the tub or doing things. So, just to go over the things that they shouldn't be scared of, the story is a really cool one. It's just like a social story to talk about it. The next thing is, I will not be afraid, said Dan, when mommy turns the vacuum on. Because how many of our kids are the kids that put their hands on their ears when the vacuum goes on because they're scared of it? They start screaming with the buzzer of the hair clipper. And again, that's the whole desensitizing protocol that you use with them in the ABA terminology. But this is like a good social story that goes along with it. We will practice being near it until the fear is gone. And then they talk about the desensitization process over here, that we're going to practice to be near it till the fear is gone. I will not be afraid, said Meg, of bugs and things that crawl. I'll just go and tell my daddy when I see one on a wall. And there are a lot of kids who are afraid of bugs. Now, one of the characteristics of autism spectrum disorder is that there is fear of benign objects, fear of objects and things that are there in the environment. So, one of them is that there is a lot of fear that is affiliated or associated with bugs, with different noises in the environment. So for that reason, this is something really good to build those skills in the kids, that they don't have to be scared of anything. And then you're giving them a replacement behavior, because we always give our kids a replacement behavior. Now let's talk a little bit about what replacement behaviors are. Replacement behaviors are those behaviors which are behaviors that you give in place of a behavior, right? So for example, if you're trying to fix one behavior, what we do is that there is another behavior that's been there, and if we're trying to fix that behavior, we are taking that behavior out and we are providing like a behavior intervention to it, but then we have to replace it with another behavior, right? So those replacement behaviors are so important, because if we don't put a replacement procedure in place, what happens is that other maladaptive behaviors, they take place. And then what happens is that it's very hard for us to get rid of those maladaptive behaviors, because those maladaptive behaviors, they're going to maintain, because they are going to have the same function of behavior as the actual maladaptive behavior had. So over here, when they're talking about uh, you know uh, like the desensitization, or when they're talking about replacing the behaviors of, like, okay, I'm not going to be scared, instead of being scared I'll go talk to mom, or mom's going to help me scrub, or I can ask for help, or I can go and desensitize. These are all replacement things that we're teaching the child. So instead of crying, they can go and they can ask for those items or help, or they can ask mom to help them. So these are all replacement things, and these are very important for us to teach the kids. So right now we are teaching them the functional communication skills so that they're able to communicate rather than crying or having tantrums. I will not be afraid, said Fred when mommy goes away. She waves goodbye, but she'll be back later in the day. I will not be afraid, said Jen, of monsters in my room. We swept them out the other day using my mommy's broom. So there are kids who are afraid of that, and now you're telling them there are no more monsters anymore. When I'm afraid, said Jack, I tell my mom and dad. Then we talk about my fears, and I don't feel so bad. I used to be afraid, said Fred, of thunder that was loud, but my daddy read a book that helped me understand that what are thunderclouds. So again, this is also a good strategy. You just talk to the kids, you go over what a thunderstorm is, you give them those coping strategies to deal with the things that are there in the environment. For example, a child is afraid of the dark, a child is afraid of the lightning. You talk to them and you explain to them how to have coping feelings or coping skills for the thing that they are scared about. When I'm afraid, said Meg, we talk about my fear. Mommy explains things to me. It helps to have her near. When I'm afraid, said Dan, I tell what's on my mind to my mommy or my daddy. They are both very kind. So again, you're teaching the child to go and ask for help, and you're asking them to do the functional communication, which is that they're asking for help. Sometimes we are afraid of things that are imagined in a deep. Tell someone what you're afraid of. You don't need to scream. So if you fear loud noises or crawly things like bugs, tell your parents or grown-ups that you need some special hugs. So this is a story in which you're making the child talk about his fears. So that is functional communication training, which means that they're able to communicate with you. And the parents or the therapists are giving them a replacement behavior, which is going to be a behavior other than the maladaptive behavior. And then you're reinforcing when they use that replacement behavior. And this is a social story that will go along with it. And that's about it. So I hope this story made sense for you. I wish you guys best of luck. Stay safe and stay healthy.